BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy, and welcome to episode 397 of BRB UK. I'm Dan, I'm one of your hosts. Hello, I was just closing my window so I don't abuse my neighbour's eardrums with my witterings. It's only you, dear listeners, whose eardrums I will abuse this evening. Oh, well, apart from Coleman's.
Hi!
And Timothy's.
Hello!
How are we doing? Tim, who the hell are you? Where have you been for 2 weeks?
I no longer know.
You no longer know. Is this a just making banter? Is this bants, or is this a general existential crisis you're having?
General existential crisis and bants.
Okay, good.
Both.
Right. Okay, good. Well, I suppose you can have mad bants alongside an existential crisis. So,
yeah.
Good.
Good. That's
really
pretty
sure
much this podcast in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly. Not really sure where I'm going to go now with that. So, Coleman, how are you?
Yeah, a little overworked, a little underpaid, a little bit tired, not much gaming time in general, but otherwise...
Nope.
Looking forward to this here podcast because I do like cheering myself up with some BigRedBarel UK for the week.
Do you now?
Yeah.
Is that your favourite thing to do?
Nothing but happy topics when we get to talk on this here podcast.
Can I just say, when I'm not on the show, which doesn't happen that often, but when I'm not on the show, my name does seem to come up quite a lot.
Yes.
What, when we're talking
about...
In the
last 2 episodes... You seem to discuss me a worrying amount for someone that wasn't there. Basically...
Well, you know. And?
Basically, I feel loved.
Good.
Speaking of love, can I just point everyone's attention over to the Discord, the BigRedBarel Discord, where I don't know if I mentioned last week, I added new special themed emojis onto the Discord. Including, there is a hi, there is a basically, and there is a picture of baby Dan.
Yay, baby Dan.
Doing an eating my dust pose.
Eat my dust.
If that's not a reason to sign up to the Discord channel, I don't know what is.
That is a reason to sign up to the Discord channel.
There you go.
Yep. Who would have thought? 2020, I thought it was rubbish, then I got an emoji.
Oh, it's not over yet, mate.
I know, it's only like the second half of 2020 already is like, hold my beer. Right, plague. That's next.
Pestilence.
Oh, the world's gone to hell. Anyway, talking of, oh, God, I was going to say something to cheer us up, but nope.
Nope.
Scanning headlines, nope. Nope, that's not going to. Nope. Right, so anyway, that's the show. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next week for episode 398. Oh, okay, so... There are more abuse allegations circling with video gaming personalities. Joey Quella is no longer going to be involved with Evo in any capacity.
Yeah. So first there was allegations coming up against the guy. I believe he's the CEO of Evo initially. And then all the various different people that had their games entered for Evo, like Them's Fighting Herds or Capcom or, anyone really. They seem to be all pulling out at a mass rate to the point where Evo have had to come out and say that effective immediately, Joey won't be part of Evo, won't be any part of the company. He's had to step down as CEO. Tony Cannon is now the acting CEO, and that Evo 2020, the special online version of the event they were going to try to do this year, that's been cancelled completely.
Mm-hmm.
As far as action you've taken, that's the kind of biggest you can go for. He's gone, no more part of this. We're addressing what's happened with him. We're looking into what's happened within the company, and also this event's not happening. We'll try again next year when hopefully we've got our proverbial together.
I mean, there's I think it's right that all of these allegations are investigated, and it's no one should fear being able to come forward if they have experienced these horrendous events. And I think it's only right that, I think Evo's made the right and difficult shout here. But it just seems week after week after week at the moment. It's really kind of quite depressing how, I say it's quite depressing how in video gaming culture, people take advantage of their positions of prominence, but actually, just about anything, people take advantage of their positions of prominence, and it just beggars belief. honestly beggars belief.
It's not nice to see it within the video game industry and within an industry that we take pride in being passionate about, basically. Also, look, you guys covered it well in the last couple of weeks, so I won't retread too much and you go over too much ground that you've already done. But just to add that there are people that I have met that were involved in some of those allegations.
Oh, wow.
And there's people that I have dealt with through events that I've covered for BigRedBarel and possibly, I'm not sure of the timing, but possibly Sarcastic Gamer, but I think more BigRedBarel, where I've encountered these people, met these people, and had, without going into detail, had a more personal, affecting thing directly related to it. I won't go into some details, but it was fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, but it was someone that I didn't take to, and you know me, I take to most people, and I've got time for most people. I didn't know if this person was off with me for a reason that I now have a greater understanding for. But anyway, generally, yeah, it's just something where it has affected. Well, I've met people that are involved, and it has affected people I know, is all I'll say, basically. And that just, slightly brings it a bit more closer to home. But it just, beyond that and beyond, taking me completely and utterly out of the equation, just the fact that it's happening and so seems to be so prevalent within an industry that, yeah, as I said, we are what we generally refer to as enthusiast press. We are enthusiastic enough about the industry that we literally for free kind of present our opinions, and people have taken to those opinions, and we have some fun doing it, and it's something that we're passionate about. But it's not nice to have something that we are so directly related to and passionate about being so corrupt in this way and in this manner. Look, it's not just video games. Obviously, this hit movies in a bigger way, which again I think we're all fairly passionate about movies as well, and that's something that affects us and other people directly as well. But then it's also happened to other things that doesn't affect me. I know might affect you a bit more, Coleman, but it's happened in wrestling, and I think wrestling, as far as I'm aware, you're not as big a fan of. I think you're more a fan of some of the American stuff than the British stuff necessarily.
No, I watched a lot of the British Progress and Shimmer. Yeah,
I wasn't sure on that, but just there's so many. It's such a horrible time in the world right now with everything else going on in the background.
Don't know what you mean, mate. Everything's peachy. It's lovely. Nothing. No, what are you talking about? Stop trying to scaremonger.
But I'm just saying, it's not nice to have some of the more positive distractions we can take at this moment be tarnished with this type of thing. At the same time, I am not at all denying, or as you said, taking away from the fact that these need to be investigated, this should be followed up, and this should be the catalyst to change within all of these industries and within society to a greater whole in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's again not just the video game industry; it's more widely, I think, the entertainment industry that this is a real problem in. And we've kind of the first real big headline announcement of it being obviously with Harvey Weinstein. I mean, it's just sad that people abuse their positions of influence like this and feel that is clearly at some level feel it's an acceptable thing to do, which it isn't.
I also think it's and I'm not taking away, I'm not trying to take away from any of the victims or take away from the fact that the people have done it or anything like that, but I do think that it's a lesson to be learned for the type of people that you put up on a pedestal. And just because they're in a position doesn't mean they should gain even more from that position than they should be from just the nature of their job or whatever, basically, kind of thing. I mean, abusing the power and abusing the industry in itself in a way, kind of thing.
Well, and also, trying to take advantage of people who were just starting on their journey in the industry and kind of implying that, well, if they want to get anywhere, if you don't want to have your life made absolute hell, you've got to do. I'm going to make you do this.
Yeah, and if you're a gamer who has absolutely no empathy, and I think this excludes all three of us, but I think if a gamer with absolutely no empathy and the only thing you care about is video games, then just think of the harm done to the video game industry from the loss of talent and the loss of, a positive working environment in which people can flourish and do their best, and where the video game is the primary thing and not, the relationship or the terrible relationships of being forced on people and stuff like that. It's just, it's not just a loss of to those people, it's a loss to the industry of those people. And I think that, even if you've got no empathy for the people involved, you should be upset that video games have been harmed by these people's actions. And as I said, you've covered it generally, and it just seems that there's more and more things going on, and it's just a shame that something that like Evo that would have been a nice distraction for people at the moment is generally a positive thing at this time of year is something that's been tainted by this. And is this going to be too little too late in terms of what they've done, and what could happen with Evo in the future? Is it too late now that some of these companies have publicly declared that they're pulling out, basically?
As well as Evo, there was a lot of that kind of attention pointed towards the Super Smash Bros. Community, because that's got a large placement within Evo, and Nintendo's had to come out and kind of distance themselves from the people that have been accused, we'll say, and saying that they stand with victims and they'll look into it. So we've not heard any further from that point, but they have put out statements, and we'll see where that goes and hopefully follow up on that in the future, because we've got to hope that something good comes of this. And then, as well as Evo, Ubisoft's Vice President of Editorial, Maxime Balland, he has resigned because of abuse and misconduct allegations.
Just to give a bit of context about who Maxime is as well, because I believe he was previously the creative director of both the Splinter Cell and the Far Cry franchises within Ubisoft, had recently come back to Ubi following, I think he was working at Epic Games, wasn't he? So he sounds like he jumped the instant before he was pushed, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, and Ubisoft are following up on that. They seem to have had a few foxes in the henhouse of late, to find a lack of a better term. But as well as internal, there's a lot of accusations against influencers that are being looked into at the moment, be that YouTube, Twitch, what have you. So there's a lot going on in regards to this, and I expect we're going to be talking about this for weeks to come, while more and more people are getting shaken from that tree. So we'll see. But we're not jumping to this one. This person's been alleged, and there's not really anything to back it up but one person's voice. So we're going to jump on it, and that's news for us. We are looking in ourselves and trying to find the right news to be telling to you, dear listener. So pinch of salt, look into it yourself, try to get all the facts. But in these three cases, we have the Evo stuff, the Nintendo Super Smash Bros. Community stuff, and Ubisoft's previous Vice President of Editorial. This looks pretty much a kind of shut case.
I mean, I don't really think there's too much more we can really say. I mean, other than, I hope these allegations are investigated appropriately.
Yeah.
And that, where it's obvious that someone's done something very, very wrong, that they're held accountable for that, and are face appropriate levels of censures and sanctions for what they have done.
And just generally add in kind of believe survivors and investigate any sort of allegations seriously, and I would argue openly as well. I think that's something that isn't done enough in these companies, that it tends to be behind closed doors, and then it's really easy to sweep it under the rug. I think it's something that needs to be more openly investigated, so that it's known by everyone if there's an allegation, for the benefit of both parties, basically, kind of thing.
But how do you balance that, though? I'm being devil's advocate here, and this might get edited out.
I know it's a difficult thing. I'm not entirely sure what the best course is in HR, but I do think that in some way, shape or form, it needs to be a bit more of an open thing, or there needs to be an independent way of assessing that. The thing that worries me about the Ubisoft thing in general is it seems to be it's not confined to one location, and it seems to be multiple locations throughout the world and multiple different studios and multiple different departments. Yeah. It seems to be almost almost embedded in the culture of the company type of thing, and that seems
there was those comments that kind of like the party culture at Ubisoft, where it's kind of to kind of de-stress, they often kind of probably kick back, have a lot of alcohol fueled parties allegedly, and even the fact that they kind of use those as a kind of an employee retention technique, allegedly again. Obviously, alcohol plus predatory behavior, a predilection for predatory behavior is not a good
is a bad mix. But I would say that is a problematic area, a known problematic area within a number of companies, not just unique to the game industry type thing. I'm not trying to excuse absolutely. The game industry there. And look, we all know that it's bad on that side of things sometimes. From there is too many alcohol-fueled events in the games industry in general, basically.
If there's an event, there's alcohol in some form or another.
And often
we have after parties and
free
we have
and limitless kind of thing. Which is a recipe for disaster in itself.
Just to kind of wrap this section up, I'm going to throw in one of our community questions because it does tie into this. So Pete on Twitter, he's asked, with the recent spate of allegations of sexual misconduct within the competitive Smash Brothers scene as well as the FGC in general, do you feel that they can rebuild after this, or the competitive game community as marketable esports? I think there might be
as a marketable esport.
Yes, sorry. I think there was an autocorrect there somewhere that's kind of thrown me off. But how do they bounce back from this, basically?
Yeah. I mean, just by being open and honest and saying, look, this isn't right. This isn't right. And, we can't change the past, but here's what we can do to change going forward. And we will continue to be open and honest and, be transparent about these allegations should they occur again in the future. And I think that's all you can do.
Yeah. To be honest, to kind of, again, play devil's advocate here, they don't have to do so much to kind of turn things around because they have a loyal fan base that probably would follow them through good and bad. So I'm saying they'll probably be fine either way, but the good thing to do is, yes, as they're doing right now, hands up, we effed up, this is what we're doing, these are the steps we're going to take, these are the things that we're looking into, this is
the one thing you might say there that might not work in their favour is it is a bit more difficult when it is their CEO. That does make it slightly more difficult because
that's why you have a board of directors,
right? But as I say, companies have already stated that they are publicly pulling away from this. They might not rush back to it. It might take a bit to persuade them. They might not get them the first year. They might have to do a bit to rebuild, basically. It may take them a bit of time to re-earn that trust. And that may be warranted that may rightly so, possibly, because especially because you would have thought that if the CEO and there seems to be more than one allegation, I'm thinking. Is that the case from what you're saying?
Internal, there seems to be more allegations internally with staff and participants. So we'll see going forward what happens with that.
You kind of think that if that was the case, then someone within the company must have been aware of it before it was publicly forced upon them to do something about it. But look, as I said, Evo's a nice positive thing. It's hopefully something that can bounce back from this and push on, as you say. That's why you have a board of directors, so you can push things around.
In the kind of plus side of the Evo Online being cancelled, I've seen so many mentions of different companies trying to start up their own online tournaments for the benefit of raising money for charities. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on.
Hey, are you going to hit me with some good news? Because I feel like some good news. Shall I give us some good news?
No, this is 2020.
I'm
not hitting you with any good news, my friend.
No, it's another bad news story.
2020 doesn't do good news.
2K, the publishers of Rockstar Games, GTA Online, one of the greatest. It is in fact isn't it the most profitable piece of media in the entire world today?
And I wasn't going to let you forget. The yearly releases of WWE that break when that actual year happens. These guys are great. I love them.
That's just happened the one time. It's bad, but it's happened the one time.
I thought it's happened the twice.
No, it's only happened once.
Really?
Yeah, same game.
Really?
You're thinking of the same game. Anyway, one game launched, it were balked, and then when we turned to the year's number of that same game, the online stopped working.
Yes.
It got worse.
But 2K, they are due a new NBA title, as they tend to do, NBA 2K21, as well as releasing to the current gen versions of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I believe there will be a Switch version there somewhere as well. It's also coming to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. However, if you wish to own yourself a new generation copy of the game, it will cost you $64.99 RRP against the current gen version $54.99 RRP, and if you wanted to kind of make that a little bit more weird as well, I think it's 89 quid version, which is their special Kobe Bryant tribute pack version of the game. That's the only way that you can get your free upgrade to the next generation. So you have to spend 90 quid on the game to get your free upgrade to Xbox One. Xbox Series X.
That's not good.
Anyway, that's not the big story.
But just to hang on. Just to give some context to that, and I'm taking over the devil's advocate mantle from Coleman on this one.
Can we refer to it as devil's avocado?
Taking the devil's avocado.
Now we're not in such serious news. I'd like to bring that back.
Yes, devil's avocado. You're all right, Kat. We'll think of that. We'll get something. But 55 quid in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to know how much that 55 quid would have to be to have the same purchasing power these days?
Go on then.
It needs to be £80.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. There is an argument for inflation, but 2K again is the video games company that Take-Two Interactive, all that kind of stuff. They make arguably they're one of the most profitable companies because of one game, GTA Online. I think they can spare the money at the moment, but. However, it looks like that might be the regular RRP for console titles going forward, because IDG, they've been speaking with Games Industry Biz. If you don't know who IDG are, they're a consulting firm, and they basically pointed out that the last time we had a price hike in video game titles was 2005 and 2006, where it went up from, and they speak in dollars, so $49.99 to $59.99 at the start of the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation.
Right, but that's not entirely accurate for the UK. Just just because of the dollar difference, but there has been different times where prices have gone up in the UK compared to the US, and we didn't get the last one. I don't think we got that price increase, basically. We were already at a higher price. In
cases of the 360, we kind of had a three-way difference of game titles. Game was for physical releases, at least. You'd be looking at a £30, £40 or £50 release title, depending on the kind of tier of game. And now it seems for physical games, unless they're going through an indie publisher of some sort, most games retail at £50, £55. And it's been that way for a very long time for us. And as well, you get stores that will charge above the RRP, you'll get stores that charge under the RRP. So it's kind of confusing as to where we are with this. But during this time that they've said the inflation hasn't gone up, you've seen other entertainment other entertainment revenues go up of 200% to 300%, depending on the IP studio and genre. For comparison's sakes, the cinema ticket prices have risen up 39% in that time. Netflix subscription costs have gone up 100% in that time, and cable TV packages have risen up by 105% in that time.
Unfortunately, I think that I do think video games had this coming for a long while, a price increase, to be blunt. Does it suck? Yes. Is it unexpected? Probably not. Does it mean you're never going to get a good deal on a video game ever again? Well, actually, no. I still think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for shopping around. I think it's going to be a while before that price point is perhaps accepted by people who are playing games.
I think it could be a good thing if it encourages less developers to have to produce DLC and just produce an upfront cost price.
Fewer developers, Timothy.
Fewer. Sorry.
Can I just throw up a couple of
throw up
things that I've heard?
Animal noises.
Sorry,
animal
arguments.
noises. Oh, what?
I'd just like to throw out a couple of different examples of positive feedback to this that I've heard in the various podcast websites and social media status.
Is one of them Bobby Kotick going, I love money, this is great.
I'm building a mansion entirely out of money. Thank you, Bobby Kotick. Number one, yes, the price rise, maybe that means that means everything will be on the disc. We'll see less microtransactions, DLC, and all these kinds of things. No, I don't think that will happen at all. You will be paying more money and still be paying those things on top. The other one was, well, games are more expensive to develop now than they've ever been. Look at the Last of Us Part 2 that just came out. It was like 7-9 years worth of development time put into this one title, and it's a kind of a limited story to it. You get 40-something hours of gameplay out of it, and then it's done. There's no online, there's no DLC coming, apparently. So, once it's done, it's done. There's no extra revenue to be made on top of that. My argument to that is, look at EA Football Ultimate Team. You look at anything from EA, Activision. Look at anything from so many of the big companies and the amount of money they make out of their games currently. To them.
Yeah,
I think there is an argument to go, okay, so the RRP is $64.99. However, if you're going to start chucking in microtransactions and all this kind of stuff, you should be lowering the price. But if you are coming up from a smaller background, but then how do you police that? There is, it's...
I mean, the problem is it's all about perception. I think for a lot of people, certainly people who are buying these games which then get given as gifts, the person who ends up using it isn't actually going to see that upfront price. And, the pricing structure of microtransactions, sadly, means that a lot of people may well just still consider them an impulse buy anyway. And I know the industry's coming down on microtransactions. And
there are a number of rumours at the moment that Microsoft are considering or are instructing developers that you will not be able to have microtransactions on Xbox Series X.
Yeah, that'll be good, but we'll have to see how that plays out. It's a rumour at the moment.
Well, I've also seen rumours that you will not be able to have DLC. I don't know if that's people misreporting or that rumour being twisted, but I don't know what's going on there. But that would be an interesting move.
There's evidence that Microsoft is quite happy to play hardball in terms of basically telling developers, thou shalt not charge for a Series X upgrade from a Xbox One game. That is something that consumers get free, which I think is, right. And I think that's excellent. And I don't know whether there's kind of Microsoft do a kickback to the developers for that, because, at the end of the day, there's still going to be work involved. But I think for the end user, that is really, really important to bring on Friday. It's in Microsoft's interest as well that they want people to experience their new console, the best that new console has to have.
But I thought Microsoft were pushing the fact that developers didn't have to do anything to develop for the two different platforms.
Well, no, it's true, but I think you're not... If you want to bring a game from 1080p to 4K, you're going to have to do some work on upgrading assets like textures and stuff like that. But they could, yes, just press a button and it would work.
Well, what I understood of the situation is if they make it in 4K, they're going to make it easy for them to downsample it to the previous gen kind of thing.
I'm talking more about going forward rather than forwards, backwards, forwards, all of the
roads,
compatibility.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
But, I'm going to use the magical inflation game to predict how much the PS5 is going to cost. All right, so the launch price of the PS3 circa 2006 in the UK, was £425 RRP, which means the RRP of the PS5 will be approximately £620.
I don't like that price.
No.
Sadly, I'm not sure how far
I'm a
off
PC
that's
gamer
going
now.
to be. Yeah, you are.
I'm hoping for 500 or less. I'm thinking it's going to be more. No,
I think it's going to be 450.
I've got another argument for you for the price hike. More money charged for the game means more money going back to the people working on the game.
No,
that's what I did. I laughed my ass off.
It goes to shareholders. That's how capitalism works.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It should.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it? I'm afraid.
No. In a time where studios get shut down for the purpose of making the publisher look more profitable than they actually are at this moment in time, no, that's not bloody happening. Wind your neck in.
No, I mean, and again, just about every arm of the entertainment industry is structured in such a way that basically the people at the top will always get theirs, I'm afraid.
This generation has made me a lot more cynical towards the video game industry.
But in all fairness, you have got older by 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
and I became extra cynical in like half of my 30s.
I remember a point of the 360 generation go, well, I don't buy any of my games secondhand because the video game industry actually loses more money in secondhand sales than piracy. Where the hell did I pick that up from?
Brainwashed.
Timothy, sounds like something you'd say.
I think it was just the way I said it.
Really? Basically.
But also, can I just say before we move on that they were really bad examples to bring up because every one of those things has a different financial reason for for example, Netflix launched at a particularly low price to get as many people on board.
Loss leaders.
Lots of venture capital money and always had the idea of hiking its price up at a much higher rate after it got lots of people on board. That was its business model.
Netflix operated at a loss for many years, and they were heavily in debt until I think earlier this year.
So using them as an example of why you can put your prices up because they've gone up 100% is a terrible example to use. Likewise, cable TVs had gone through a really big flux and a really weird period where it's got highly competitive with lots of different things.
Also, these are American suggestions as well, and the cable TV industry in the US is absolutely balked.
Yes.
Yep.
And cinema ticket prices, the money doesn't even go to the cinema. Anyway,
yeah. Anyway, £65. We are finally in line with Australian video game prices 10 years ago. So there we go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, and let's see how much the Great British Pound is worth these days.
Well, that's the thing. The pound's worth nothing at the moment as well. So I'm extra fearful of the price we might have to pay for consoles because...
Actually, to be fair, it's now tracking about what it was a year ago, roughly. We had that slightly scary bit in March. You can get $1.26 for your Great British Pound today, which is rubbish.
Yeah, we're much closer to the euro as well. Anyway,
like I did with the last topic we had as well. John Reed on Twitter, he asked us, "Are you going to stop buying games for the current gen consoles that are released in the holiday season and get them on new consoles when they drop, or buy them for current gen and upgrade, e.g., Cyberpunk 2077?" I'm buying Cyberpunk on the PC because there was a pre-order offer to get it for £35.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk's one where I'm probably going to buy it because I don't think I can wait for that, but I will definitely buy it with in mind to have that as a game on my new console as soon as I can to upgrade to it, basically. But I think that's coming out after launch, isn't it? I don't think that'll be available at launch.
I don't think it's going to be a launch title, no.
No.
But then, I've already kind of slightly financially driven and slightly motivated by available time left Last of Us 2 for the moment, and I think I might pick that up on next gen possibly if I do ever play it. But Ghost of Tsushima is the one that I'm picking up.
Bless you.
Next week or so. Tsushima. That's one where I'm hoping they'll do a PS5 upgrade. I think they've said something about that already. I'm not sure.
I don't think they have, but
I don't know.
I think they've confirmed the backwards compatibility of it, and there will be some form of improvement down the line for that.
It's a little less clear on the PlayStation side of things than it is from Microsoft, to be honest with you, at the moment.
Yeah, but that's one where I'm happy to play it on the PS4, and that be my sort of swan song PS4 game, apart from maybe Cyberpunk.
I think Ghost of Tiramisu the last...
Bless you.
The last kind of platform exclusive title that's coming out, if I remember rightly. If that's the case, that's the last one I'm picking up. Any kind of cross-generation stuff will be PC games for me anyway until the PlayStation 5's in my hands.
I mean, obviously...
sorry, and Avengers, you're getting a free upgrade on every platform, so that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, Ghost of Terra Masalata aside, I mean, it's... it's... for me, I think a lot of the stuff that's going to be bridging the console generations, I'll probably hedge my bets and go PC, to be honest with you. But I'm doing an increasing amount of gaming on my PC these days anyway. So, I mean, I think if my main platform was Xbox, I probably would continue getting current gen games just because there seems to be a bit more certainty that a number of them are going to get a free kind of uplift when the Series X launches. I think I'd be a little more cautious if I was a PlayStation gamer.
Oh, I just remembered as well. Sorry, there was one more argument that I heard about the price increase being on the side of it. It was that, hey, when games come out now, they're on sale before you know it, in like a month or 2 months, or they're on these Xbox Game Pass and all these kind of things. We're at the end of the generation, you Burks. That's why.
They want to shift that stuff as soon as they can.
Yeah, anyway, that's all of it.
Anyway.
I'm going to gloss over the next two. Just wanted to say, we spoke about the interest in, the rumour that Warner Brothers Interactive is up for sale.
I thought we were buying them.
We're looking at we specifically wanted Rocksteady, but I think you have to buy the whole lot.
Man.
Reportedly, Microsoft are the interested party at the moment, looking to throw their hat into
Microsoft,
the ring.
they're ours.
I'm okay with this. Microsoft, they're looking to eat up studios at the moment. Again, the rumor is $4 billion.
How many?
Pick up $4 billion, which is
double some dollars
what they paid for Minecraft and Mojang.
Rocksteady, I may not have $4 billion, but I am a lot closer than Microsoft. You're just down the road from me, so you know.
$2 billion.
Also, it's worth mentioning that AT&T would still be keeping hold of the DC licenses. So if Xbox, whoever picked this up, and they wanted to use these studios that are well versed in DC and Harry Potter titles, and they currently have titles in the works, if they wanted to carry on with those, they'd then have to license them from AT&T. So AT&T make a bunch of money, then more on licensing. So that's hey.
Well, I must say it was quite funny that initially it was, oh yeah, we're going to sell them, and then they were like, hang on a minute, whoa.
We could
DC
buy
and Harry Potter, we want to keep those. Thank you very much.
We could buy all if you wanted.
What, all of it?
Yeah.
Have you just remortgaged your flat, Tim?
No. We just do what stupid businessmen do and do a leveraged buyout. That's literally how the Glazers bought Man United. Like, all you do is
God, he's about to talk about football.
No. It's about business.
I'm lost.
You go to the business and say, I will buy this business with the value of the business, and I don't have any money, but I'll pay you with the assets of the business going forward.
I can pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
That's literally a leverage buyout. I don't have any money, but this company's worth
have some money.
So give it to me for free, and then I'll give you money based on... Like, what?
Do you know what? I mean, if we can extend the pool a little bit, I'd like Rocksteady, NetherRealm, and Monolith. That'd be pretty cool.
Right, okay. Yeah. Well, if you're a good boy, Coleman.
I mostly want NetherRealm, so I want to go and kick some ass about like some of the allegations behind their scenes. So here we go. I would like to kind of throw this out there as well. If Microsoft were to buy all these studios and then start carrying on with DC development through AT&T and carry on that relationship, can you imagine basically what Sony did with Spider-Man as an exclusive, Microsoft doing that with Batman? That could work very well in their favour.
I'm goddamn Batman. I'm goddamn Batman.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, not apparently, because Amazon have actually confirmed this, Amazon Studios are making a Fallout TV series with the creators of Westworld.
Although it's probably going to be more fun to play than Fallout 76.
To be fair, universe is a fun universe to mess around in.
Absolutely. That whole thing is really compelling, if done a little to death in modern entertainment, perhaps. Yeah. But I think it's a fascinating universe. Definitely.
This could be a very fun apocalyptic romp. But the thing is, as long as they don't go, okay, because this is a streaming platform, we're going to do 12 episodes a season of being in a bunker. Because that is basically a season of bottle episodes, and I'm not looking forward to that. If they're out in the wastelands and they're shooting big monsters and stuff, I'm all for that.
I reckon it's going to be all vault based. You've got to keep those costs down.
Someone was saying it would be like a different vault of the week. Like,
this is what happened
of the week. Yeah, like, this is what happened in this vault type of thing. That could be interesting.
Oh, that kind of works.
I think it's more likely to be something that's, kind of serialized and set up for doing all this. I don't know about you. I liked the aesthetic of Westworld, and I quite like how it kicked off, but it kind of crapped the bed. So
is it because it's slightly overstayed its welcome?
Well, yeah. Try not to.
It's in its third season now.
Spoil anything, yeah.
Yeah. But I would like to point out as well what was the Fallout mobile game? The one where you
Fallout Shelter.
Fallout Shelter, that came out, that did very well, and then there was a Fallout mobile game which was basically the same game ripped off to the point where Bethesda were looking at legal action, and the Westworld game had to be pulled from the stores. Now there's the people of Westworld making a Fallout TV show, so
maybe that's how they started talking. It started as a bad conversation that evolved somewhere good. You never know.
Just remember, Amazon Studios, if you are looking at your casting, maybe stay away from Matthew Perry.
I'll fall out for you.
Guys, we talk about video games on this show, and we've been playing video games, so we should talk about the video games we have been playing. Tim, have you played Resident Evil 7 yet?
No.
God damn it, Tim.
To be fair, I haven't had much time this week, and I have had a very good new VR game to play, so I played that instead.
Mate, I watched you consistently on your PlayStation 4 for about 2 days playing Iron Man VR. Don't give me I haven't had time to play Resident Evil 7.
No, what did I just say? What I said was I had time to play a good new VR game, and so I did that instead.
A little from column A, a little from column B. I could have done. I've been playing Iron Man VR as well. Let's talk about it.
No, this has had some seriously mixed reviews, hasn't it?
It has, and I think we're going to have some mixed reviews right now, because Tim seems very excited about this, and I seem very middle road about this.
Okay,
so, is life as Iron Man as exciting as it's made out to be?
We call him Tony back here, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on first name terms.
Got to know him to be
so it's not only fun times as Iron Man, then it's fun times as Tony Stark. So do you get to use the old VR with Pepper Potts? Do you get to?
No, you can rescue her from a plane though. Oh. That helps.
Not really.
No?
You can help her launch a Goop website.
Oh, I would love to chuck her off a building for that.
So, should I rescue her?
Nah.
Anyway, yes, this is Iron Man VR. We've spoken about it in preview and in the demo format previously. Now the full game is out. Me and Tim have both picked this up. This is a VR title that you need to use PlayStation Move controllers for, those decade-old controllers that are still going somehow.
They're great.
They are just lovely. And yes, this is a kind of Iron Man story that is part wander around, pick things up, interact, talk to people, and part fly around and shoot stuff. The flying around shooting stuff I find very fun, although the controls at times I find very infuriating because of decade-old movement controllers. But all the VR headset stuff, absolutely brilliant. Forgot I was using a PSVR at times. You know?
I have a question.
Yes.
Go on, then. Now, how much of the good sentiment you have towards this game is the fact that it's cool to be Tony Stark / Iron Man, as opposed to it actually being a decent entertainment experience?
Well, look, I won't lie. If it was like Fred the chip shop owner, it would be more boring.
I would be all over that. I would be all over that.
But
that'd be amazing.
You can't take Tony Stark and Iron Man away from the Iron Man game. That's a large part of the equation.
Could be War Machine.
Oh, Jesus.
No one wants to be War Machine.
No one wants to be War Machine.
no one wants to be. Unless it's the Punisher version of War Machine.
I like the idea of Super Savaloy Man. That sounds amazing.
But yeah, no. Look, it's definitely, some good wish fulfillment and that type of stuff. And I quite like the fact that you're kind of able to geek out in Tony's garage and go around and see all the type of stuff. How far through the story are you, Coleman? I don't know if you're further or less far.
I am way behind
roughly.
you, judging by your playtime. I had to stop after Shanghai because I was getting crippling headaches, which I don't think have anything to do with the actual VR in this case. It's not motion sickness. I've not been well lately.
Well,
it's COVID.
Look, it opens up a bit more after you... Right, it opened up in the way that I thought it would and some ways that I didn't quite expect. But generally, have you got to the bit where there's a world map in the garage?
Yes.
Right, okay. So that expands a bit more after a few missions where you get to the point where you can return to previous missions and go over them again to go for a higher score. But it also opens up some... flight quest type things, like mini missions. I can't remember exactly what they call them, but they're just flight tests basically, where you're time trials.
Flight tests.
They're basically time trials where you've just got to get between checkpoints as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But some of them do
Pilot Wings. I love that game.
Well, some of them do have some more interactive
Superman
elements,
64.
in terms of you've got a rocket punch thing. And you can use that to lock onto an enemy or punch down to the ground in quite a big distance, and it uses that within the kind of time trial type thing as well, basically. I'm guessing there are combat missions which I haven't opened up yet, but as there was one of those, one or maybe two of those in the demo, I'm pretty sure they're going to be in the fight or open up as you go throughout the game. And you can also, once you've unlocked an area, there's also just being able to fly around the level itself, basically.
But I've actually heard that the combat is one of the ropiest bits of the game. So
I wouldn't say that.
I don't know if Coleman was suffering the same problem I did initially. The controls are a little bit finicky. One of the major problems with
don't
the
think
PSV...
you say that in 2020.
The major problems with PSV Move controllers in PSVR is you cannot see the buttons, and then so instinctively reaching for the top or bottom buttons isn't always easy. It's easy to hit the wrong button and then go, oh no, I needed to hit the other button, but I only know that now.
And that's the noise I make whenever I hit a wrong button.
That's kind of the problem. I mean, when I used to live with you, Tim, and you introduced me to the PlayStation VR, the Move controllers, I found that problem all the time because I wasn't used to it. But this far in my life now, I have the system myself. I play a lot of VR games, and I'm used to where the layouts are, and it's kind of that. It's repetition makes makes you remember what you're doing, and that's all fine. It's more. So when I play, the Batman game. Let's talk. Yeah. Right, let's talk about Arkham VR. When you play Arkham VR, you move your arm, and your arm moves the same time on screen as it does in real life. There's kind of a 1-to-1 point.
Well, that's because you're the goddamn Batman, Coleman.
Because you're the goddamn Batman. There's a 1-to-1 point of
it's
of
slightly
reaction.
more instinctive.
With Iron Man, I feel like I move my arm, and it's very slight, but there is a delay in the screen moving with my arm.
Oh, maybe. All right. I have not suffered that at all.
Okay.
The one thing I suggest there, maybe I've turned off all of the visual aids of stuff and all the stuff that helps with motion sickness. And yeah, I'm not having a problem with it at all. The one thing I do keep on meaning to turn is I'm still on click turning, but it's not as bad when it's actually quite handy for some of the courses because you can kind of smoothly go around things. There is also a bit of a learning curve to not only flying, but flying and shooting and knowing when to switch between the two and knowing when to kind of there's a bit of a learning curve to the system. I've got much happier with that as I've got more comfortable with it. I also think the level design of stuff lends itself slightly better when you have an idea what they're asking you to do rather than just going into it blind. I had a much better time coming back and playing the level that I played in the demo and really smashing the score and knowing what was going on than I necessarily have done the first time through a level trying to learn my way around type of thing.
Right.
But that aside, I have had pretty much fun throughout. Like, the combat I find challenging at times. Like, some of the enemies are actually quite difficult to battle, and you have to find the right tactic for them. Yeah, it's all kind of drone. That's the one thing I'd say, is that it'd be nice to have a slightly greater variety of enemies.
Yeah, you're Iron Man. You want to fight Whiplash. You want to fight the Mandarin, but you want to fight Titanium Man and all those kind of things.
Nope, just drones.
But you've got drones.
But I some of the stuff that they've done in combat and out of combat, but in like scenarios and stuff like that, I just really like the combinations of what they did. One of the things that I don't think I've seen anyone do in a VR game or even attempt, but no one do very well apart from maybe Blood and Truth, is have your character react to something another character is doing, like their body. Like, I got knocked over, and I haven't seen anyone do that as well as it was done in this game without it feeling really disconcerting, basically, kind of thing. Okay. And that type of thing, and the presentation and some of that type of thing, I really like. There's some nice iconic, and I don't want to spoil it for you, Coleman, if you haven't seen it, but there's some nice iconic Marvel areas to visit without giving too much away. Because if I say much more than that, it literally gives the game away. But when
I got to Shanghai, there was the kind of your stock Marvel Easter eggs. There's a Oscorp building over there.
And there's Stark kind of Tower there and stuff like that. And but yeah, like, it's, I don't know, like, I really liked that level when you're rescuing Pepper Potts from the aeroplane. Okay, we had it in the demo already as well, but I do think it's a really strong, good, fun level. And like, if you like the demo, there's a lot more of that, and I quite like the way they fleshed it out. I quite like the way they do the upgrades and stuff like that. I think that's well suited for VR, sits well within the universe, and makes you feel even more like you're Tony Stark messing around with bits of your suit. I don't get why there's different
suit paint jobs, though, because you're in first person. I get to look at my gauntlets. Great. Thanks.
One question I have, if people kind of, obviously the big draw to this is like getting to play out the fantasy being Tony Stark / Iron Man, how much of that itch is kind of scratched by the free demo versus the full thing, would you say?
Do you know what? So the free demo, there's kind of an open test area to kind of, you're outside the Malibu beach house that you see in the films, and you use that to kind of do the time trial. You can do the little assault course. You can try your weapons out and stuff.
That's the kind of training area in the game, basically.
And then you get the story mode level, which is rescuing Pepper Potts from a falling plane, which you've seen in all the trailers and stuff. And it's that kind of cool thing of plane blowing up, you falling through the sky as Tony Stark, and then the gauntlet comes, the face comes, like the whole.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it feels very, very cool. The problem is whenever like the mask hits you, and then you've got a 2-minute loading screen, and then you're falling.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? It's like, God damn it, Jarvis! I told you install the super sexy drive. I can't be doing these load times.
I would have hit the floor long before that loading screen finished. And me and Tim are both playing on PS4 Pro, so we're at the best loading screens available to us on this.
And that's my biggest problem, the loading screens.
I would say the demo gives a better fit, and this is kind of my argument for the game. I feel the Arkham Knight game was so well done because it was very small areas, very controlled in what you can do, and you know the story can progress in a very cohesive way. Whereas in Iron Man, it feels like it's story level. And in between that, to put it more, it was like story level, training level, story level, training level, story level, training. It kind of feels like that at the moment. I don't know if that improves.
As I said, that kind of fleshes out when you get to the point where the map opens up and you can choose what you're doing a little bit more and do other stuff. And there's other stuff to do in the garage that has some meaning to it as well. And yeah,
but I found myself enjoying myself more in the demo than in the, and this is the actual demo, the release demo, not the EGX demo, because it felt more on rails. And I know that sounds mad, but I think the game would be wholly improved if it was that more controlled kind of environment for you to work on. But and this is not to knock Camouflage. They've done an amazing job with this game to get the kind of firepower they have out of not just the PlayStation VR, but the Move controllers as well.
Yeah.
Let down more so by the Move controllers than the VR headset. But I just feel like the experience could have been improved if it was a more linear path than these small open areas and struggling to work with them.
That doesn't wholly let up as you go through the game, but I would say give it time to open up a bit.
I will. I'm going to play some more this weekend, and I've got to get my girlfriend to have a go. Dan really wants to say something. Yes.
I just want to come back on this 2-minute loading screen business.
It is long.
I've done some science.
Yep.
You were worried that would break the fourth wall. Okay, the terminal velocity of a human being is about 118 miles an hour. In those 2 minutes,
is it a
you would fall 20,500 feet. No, 20,500 feet. So,
what if two swallows held a vine and carried the coconut that way?
Then you would find that I really, at a very profound level, couldn't give a shit. So anyway, so it's not broken the fourth wall, just as long as he's, a cruising altitude playing 30,000 feet. You could load in some more assets in that time. We've got plenty of time,
I would
mate.
say is this right. I feel I'm enjoying this enough, and it's a big enough game that it feels very much like a flagship title for VR on PlayStation. Basically, I do think it will greatly benefit from being on the next gen, both in terms of lower loading times and hopefully improved hand controllers as well. But it's still really enjoyable as is. And the one saving grace of the loading times, I don't know, have you been playing it sat down or standing up?
Standing up.
Yeah, so I've been playing it. I've been playing it standing up, and the one good thing about the long load times is I get to sit down for a bit.
Right.
I might try cool
set
stuff
this
to play with. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite way. It is a good game. I don't feel this is a flagpole game. This isn't Moss. This isn't Batman VR. This isn't Super Hot. This isn't what's the other one? Astrobot. Those are titles I feel you could sell the PSVR on. I don't think, and it's mad because like they're throwing out bundles with Iron Man. Like Iron Man is the name to sell PSVR headsets apparently in this part of the generation.
Right, okay. I'm surprised you don't think it is that good because I do.
Okay, I think it's a good game. I just don't feel as immersed, and I hate using the word immersed when it comes to video games.
Hey, does it help as I do having a visceral feeling about it?
We just got to say Dark Souls, and then we've hit all the.
There we go.
Roguelike. Roguelike, that's a good one. Yeah. Anyway, I feel when if you're picking your top 5 and those 4 easily go ahead of this one, I'm sure there's something that comes before Iron Man VR. Probably Saints and Sinners.
I mean Tetris, but
Tetris Effect's a good one, yeah.
But I don't know. Creed. If you're talking headline titles to help sell PSVR, I think this will sell more of the masses than. But Tetris
I feel it's selling just on the name alone of it being Iron Man VR.
If you strip that away, what kind of
take Iron Man and Tony Stark out of the Iron Man game. It is a very central core of the Iron Man game.
I know, but imagine, if you will, it was a game that wasn't called Iron Man and there was no Iron Man and Tony Stark in it. Would it still be an enjoyable experience to play?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good.
Do you know what? I'll give it this. If this is a limited time exclusive for PlayStation and it's going to come to other platforms, I would really like to try this in a Vive with the full 360 motion experience rather than clicking buttons.
Quest would be cool, maybe.
Well, yeah, but the way the Vive works, they do the lighthouse tracking across. You put one in every corner of the room, and it tracks you. But I've had so much fun in the Vive, and then I play the same games in the PSVR, and I'm like, yes, I can't wait. Oh, no, it's quite upsetting. But yeah, it's good. I don't know if it's warranted the full price of admission, but I definitely pick it up in a sale, unless. You can. Have you ever seen the video where the guy's doing like the flight suit VR game on the old Oculus, and he's like hanging from a tree with a wind thing blasting his face? If you could do that, I think this game's worth it.
I'll have to reserve judgment until I've seen how many of the like overall levels there are. But from what I've seen so far, and as I said, where it fleshes out and it gives you all the extra mini missions, I want to play every single one of those missions and investigate everything.
I don't feel like I'm going to platinum this just because of the sheer amount of challenge modes that I'm not at all equipped to do. Because I struggle with the controls. I probably won't,
but I really enjoy the game, and I will play it until I've sort of seen every bit of it. And I think for £35 from what I've seen so far, if it expands in the way I'm expecting it to, given what I've seen so far and what it looks like there's left, there's quite a bit of game there by the looks of things. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with it.
Also, 4 to 6 hours if you're looking to beeline straight through it, apparently.
Which is approximately as long as Tim talks about VR on this podcast every single week. I don't think that can
include all of the challenge missions and stuff as well.
Dan, you've been going. You've been going fast as well, but not in an Iron Man suit of armor, in an F1 car.
I am. That's what I aspire to be through my burgeoning F1 team. Pissed on Motorsports.
I like that.
Yeah,
I don't even have to beat that. That's good. I like it.
I know it's good. Piston. But with anyway, you get
pissed on.
You get wrong. So I have been playing a little bit of F1 2020 on the PC. I picked up the Deluxe Schumacher edition because I had very kindly, not Microsoft, Codemasters. If you owned F1 2019, they gave you a big chunk of money off F1 2020, and because of the Steam Summer Sale, you got yet more money off as well. So it was as cheap to buy the super duper version as it was to buy the ordinary version for me. Cool. So I did.
Seeing as you have the Schumacher edition, can I try do my announcer voice that I haven't tried doing since I was a child?
Yeah, please go for it.
Schumacher. That's all I remember from F1 as a kid.
Bit nasally.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's the point.
So anyway, I've been playing F1 2020. And my goodness, that is a pretty game. What's a little bit odd is that usually...
Dan, does it work in 2020?
Yes, can confirm it works in 2020. One up on 2K.
Well done, Codemasters.
The weird thing is, though, because of this little thing called COVID that you might have heard of.
Yeah.
I'm aware of its work.
COVID-19 still works in 2020, which is,
Getting ready for that COVID-21.
Yeah, exactly. I know, it's not good.
COVID 2K21.
Yeah, exactly. The F1 season itself has actually only just started, whereas usually it'd be about halfway through now. So actually, people are quite excited about F1 at the moment because it is firing on all cylinders at the same time in the video game world and indeed the real world. So the big change versus the previous F1 games is that you can now have your very own. You don't have to sit in someone else's car and pretend you're a racing car driver. You can now sit in your own pretend car and be a pretend racing driver.
What?
You can actually run your own team, a la Bruce McLaren. So you're like the driver owner of Pissed On Motorsports in my case.
This name.
And it's actually a heck of a lot of fun. It's almost... What's quite funny is it kind of the team interface. It almost reminds me a bit of XCOM, where you had calendar time and you had to fast forward through to a certain date and certain things happen. So you get as the day goes past, you get your engine upgrade and stuff like that. So it's quite good, and you have to think about not just driving fast, but also the management side of your team too. So have you got a decent second driver? What kind of money do they bring in? What sponsors have you got? What kind of
do your drivers
goals
argue?
Have you got to hit?
Do your two drivers argue? Do they crash into each other?
I don't know. I haven't driven into my my co-driver yet. I'm not sure if you can relive the Hamilton Rosberg dream to that extent, but it's actually to me makes it a lot more engaging. I mean, it was always quite fun pretending you were buddying up with, let's say, Carlos Sainz Jr. in McLaren, for example. But when it's your own team and you can take it in exactly the way you want to, it kind of does give you a bit more sense of ownership to the game. And that's where I've been spending most of my time so far, and it's been a really nice mix of kind of strategy and actually the driving experience on track as well, and the two complement each other really nicely. In terms of kind of what the other big updates are, I mean, graphically it's a stunning game, and I hear it's, even on kind of the outgoing generation of consoles, it's still looking pretty spanky from what I've been told. There's a couple of other brand new features as well, such as split screen multiplayer for the first time, but the big missing element is still VR. And Cody's with their driving games have been actually quite reticent to bring in VR. I don't think any of their driving games.
No, they had VR in Dirt Rally, I believe.
Wasn't that the port, the slightly unfortunate mobile port? That one.
No.
There was a VR version of Dirt Rally 3, I think. I remember Tim sending the footage over.
But I mean, I think certainly everyone's been surprised for the last couple of years that there's no VR mode in the Formula One games, and it'd be great to see it because the cockpits are so cramped in F1 that you kind of being able to actually look over your shoulder would be an incredible thing to be able to do. But I've really loved the game. They've made it a lot more accessible as well, whilst also extending the more sim-heavy elements of it as well. So they've done a great job in allowing first timers who don't want all the faff of dealing with like DRS and the energy recovery system and when to deploy that, when to use certain tyres. If you don't want any of that, you don't have to have any of that. You can just get on and race, but you can kind of customize it anywhere from that up to the full-on tyre simulation, fuel, engine failures, other component failures, needing to micromanage every aspect of the car. So it does a great job in making it accessible and fun for people, no matter how comfortable they are with racing games. I would say, if anything, though, the default out-the-box difficulty is laughably easy. To get the best enjoyment out of the game, you probably want to bump the difficulty up a wee bit. So that would be my top tip for the game. I've only tried it with controller at the moment. It'd be great to get an opportunity to try it with the racing wheels, since I hear that is quite an awesome experience with F1. So yeah, I mean, I haven't really played much online yet. I hear it's been a little bit buggy in these early days, and I have noticed one or two bugs, but again, it's not technically out yet. I mean, it's one of those things you kind of, if you get the early access version, then you are paying slightly more money to be a beta tester. It's all very messed up. But certainly on PC at least, if you've got resolution scaling, turn that off. So like if you've got a 1440p monitor and everything's made a little bit larger just so you can see stuff without going blind, I have to turn that back down to 100%, otherwise the game will crash when you launch it. So apparently a bunch of these bugs are going to be fixed, but not quite yet. So if you in any way like Formula One, this is a corking game. It's super duper fun, super duper accessible. It's a really engrossing experience, even if you just want to get in a car and drive, or you want to go the whole hog and manage a team as well. So
it's interesting what you were saying about that team management thing, because I guess that's the equivalent of a kind of the manager mode type thing that you have in football games, and that's been prevalent for years. And it's odd that that's something that's only just been added now. It feels like a natural fit for F1.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because I know people have been clamouring for being able to have your enter a custom team rather than just
or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it was only recently that actually the car numbers could be customised. It used to be that you were stuck with whoever's car you were in, which was a bit bonkers. But I think it's because there's not since the 70s, I don't really think there's been any owner drivers of teams. So it's kind of, whereas in football, the kind of player manager is a bit more of an established thing. I think it's quite uncommon in it. It is uncommon in F1, hence why I don't think they've done that. But I think it's a really great addition to the game.
It seems to make sense, no? Seems to be one that fits the tactical element, and because F1 isn't just about the race, it is also about the team setup and everything else that goes alongside that. So it seems to make sense for it.
As the resident one non-fan of F1, so I got to ask my stupid question that isn't an Andy Murray Walker impression. Can I play as Chris Hemsworth from the movie Rush?
No, sadly.
No. Sad.
No. Sorry, mate.
Can I play as the guy he played in the movie Rush that I can't remember? Good film,
James
by the way.
Hunt.
Go see Rush.
Yeah, it's quite
James
sure.
Hunt.
Yeah, that sounds right.
James Hunt.
Yeah? Thor. Yeah. Actually, no, it's Thor. That's who you mean.
Thor the Ferrari driver. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, Ferrari Thor.
For Asgard and Ferrari. Wins the cup. Another.
Right. We're running out of time, so I better shut up.
Okay, I have been playing, or I am the proud owner for the second time in my life of Star Wars Racer.
Ooh, I want to know about
Can I just say,
Nintendo
for you on that
platform.
racing game, F1 2020, buy it. It's awesome.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
There we are.
Star Wars Racer is out on the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. I used to own this on the N64, as I said on the show before.
So did I.
Didn't own a Nintendo 64 expansion pack, so I didn't get the full experience of this game. Couldn't play as Sebulba, that kind of stuff.
Didn't work.
Yeah, well, it worked. It's very limited in what you can do.
It's not pod racing, Coleman. This.
Now
this
is pod racing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is basically, it's a no frills version. This is the version that later came out on PC and Dreamcast, I think, which has all the FMV sequences and stuff included. They have literally taken the game and gone HD and stuck it in there. Textures be damned.
Yeah. Haven't even made the same.
What anything is
even to the degree the same exploits that used to work on the old version of the game still work. Apparently, but walls that aren't actually walls, and you can do shortcuts and stuff like that.
I never got that deep into realise that.
It literally is just stick the resolution up a bit, I guess, and print some money.
I don't know if my retro eyes are moving on to a new generation, but I kind of like that look.
That's really? The mad thing as well, because it's this beautiful HD port of the previous game, but like literally all the assets and stuff are the same, and everything's more angular and stuff now because of the technology we have. But now it plays at 60 frames a second and looks really nice. It's actually really good to play. And I'm having a lot of fun playing it and unlocking all my characters and stuff. And I'm playing this in a way that I didn't get to play before and see all the cutscenes and stuff that I didn't get to see before. And it looks like arse, but I'm finding it very enjoyable. But I'm finding it very enjoyable.
So were the prequels, but
Well, yeah, so there were the prequels. I mean, some would argue the modern day versions as well, but I wouldn't argue any of that.
I like all of the Star Wars films. So anyway,
this game is a good game and I enjoy it, but I am looking this in rose-tinted glasses because I owned this game and I'm going, hey, this is a game I used to play when I was 13 years old, and now I'm playing it as a 36-year-old man and I enjoy it. So I think it's like $12.99. Pick it up if you want it. Don't pick it up if you don't want it. But these are the same people that are doing all the kind of retro Star Wars ports on the Switch at the moment, like Jedi Academy and all those kind of things. So yeah. So I'm assuming the next one is Bombad Racer, the weird one where they all had the big heads and stuff. That's got to be coming next, surely.
That's not one that I've got any affinity for. I don't know.
No one likes that game, and there's no sign of Masters of Tiramisu.
No Masters of Terrakazi. I'm out.
No, but yeah, I'm enjoying this, but it's a dump. You could have stuck this on the phone, and I'd be enjoying this game. It's not a needed port.
I thought they had put like I think you can switch back to the original controls, but they put new controls in for the Switch.
They've put new controls in for the PS4 version and the Switch version, but they've switched it out so you can play it like on a normal N64.
Which way are you playing
control.
it? The new way, or
I'm playing it on the new way, but you can switch this so you can play it on one Joy-Con, so just one hand playing it like on an N64, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm playing this two-handed. I like the new controls, and I'm enjoying.
Yeah, good. Both hands on the wheel, Coleman.
The one thing I remember about the old game was, like, you had a reasonable recreation of the track that you saw in Episode 1, but then all the other tracks are completely made up because we've never seen another track.
That was it. And I used to just go around, I used to go through and play Tatooine again and again and again because it was in the movie, and that was the kind of age I am. The fondest memory of this game, which is included in the current version of the game, is after you finish a race and it brings up the stats leaderboard, you leave it for a little bit, and then Watto in the background goes, and I like that. So there you go. Worth the price of admission.
Worth the price of admission, yeah. That may have sold it to me.
Yeah, that's a recommend from me. But if you don't like the sound of any of this, then don't get it. Would you guys mind if we quick fire the flip out of here?
Yes, please, because it's about 4 million degrees in the room that I'm recording.
I'm nice and cool.
Good, well done for you. We got some questions. I'm going to quick fire these as quick as I can. If you want to give questions, then do so on Twitter at BigRedBarel, Facebook.com/BigRedBarel, or on BigRedBarel.com itself on the episode in the comments, but also on the website. There is a link to Discord. Join us on Discord.
Join us.
A jolly fun time, and you can use the Dan emoji, which is brilliant, if I do say so myself. Right, on Twitter, Norman was here. Sea lions have the worst flatulence of any animal by far. Discuss.
Science!
There's not enough sea lions in video games, but I did eat some in man-eater recently, and I
did they give you bad flatulence?
Man-eater recently as well, by the way. But there you go.
I mean, I just feel sorry for presumably the very junior postdoc scientist whose job it was to get their face right up some sea lion rectum.
One of them tubes to the gas mask. Yeah. No comment. Right, Discord, Sky Dark.
Actually, just going back on that, I would just like to say that is a poor reporting because it's unclear if it's the worst in terms of volume or smell.
I mean, either's bad, Dan.
I don't think we need to know these things.
I think we
some
need to know
things
these
I'm
things.
comfortable not knowing, you know?
No, I need to know.
We don't know. We do not need more information. I would like less information than we currently have about that information.
If you're a doctor of sea lions, I demand to know whether it is the volume or and by that I mean amount or scent.
No, volume, noise pollution.
That as well. There is a third dimension to this.
Sea lions. Massive.
Putting that double doctorate to good use, I see, Dan.
I'd imagine though, because sea lions are generally quite chubby. Chubby. They've probably
Discord.
it's a bit flappy, isn't
Discord.
it? So
Discord. Schumacher.
Right.
Sky Dark, question of the week. What was the PlayStation Plus 10th anniversary? So what free game have you played and enjoyed the most?
I missed out on that.
No. Right. PlayStation Plus.
In the last 10 years of PlayStation
Free
Plus.
in inverted commas.
Yes, it's look at all these free films on Netflix. I would say probably Rocket League is the most played thing I've ever got on PS Plus, and I haven't played it that much. Close second, Transformers Devastation. That was a very worthwhile PlayStation Plus game, I think.
I'm trying to think.
Tim looks like he wants to say something.
A lot of the things. No, I'm trying to think. A lot of the things I add, I end up not play. I add to my library and end up never playing. A lot of the things they give to you, I already have. Oh, I don't know. Here you go. Resident Evil 7.
Hey, that wasn't on PlayStation Plus.
For
pretty sure it was,
sakes, man.
No, you. I think you bought yours as a second-hand disc copy.
I think I was given it at some stage. I may have bought it twice without playing.
There you go. Yeah, that was never on PS Plus. Let's just all say Rocket League.
I just want to say, are there any really terrible ones?
Spiky Chris, aka Spicy Chris, as I like to call him. What software do you use for recording the audio for your podcast? I use Reaper. Dan and Tim, I believe you both use Audacity.
Certainly.
Yeah, there we go.
And all the editing. Audacity.
All the editing is done in Reaper. I'm doing some stuff with Adobe Audition at the moment, which I'm kind of learning in my spare time. So there you go. Everything else is done in Reaper. Cavolution, what game would you recommend to download and play for someone who is just subscribed to Game Pass?
Ooh, Sea of Thieves.
Fallout 76.
Yeah, actually, Fallout 76 is on Game Pass. And
City Skylines.
I kind of want to see how bad it is.
That's still
yeah, well, we're going to do that off mic. If it's still on there, I don't know if it is. Devil May Cry 5. There you go.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 4.
Perfect. Any of the Halo Master Chief stuff?
No, don't. Because then you have to download all of it, and it takes up all of your hard drive.
Cool story, Tim. Next question.
There you go. He also had another question. He'd love to hear more about Dan on his time on Games World, maybe some behind-the-scenes information on how he applied to be on the show.
To be fair, that was in 1876, and my memory of that is pretty...
His parents made him do it.
No, I think there was an advert in the news back in the day where you could answer such adverts without fear. There was an advert in the newspaper which I answered doing auditions. I went to an audition.
You had to audition for it.
I had to audition for it.
TV's
I had to play some games, have a chat with them.
They had to check you could actually play some video games, yeah?
Yeah, indeed. It was shocking. And yeah, I mean, I then got a call back. And the one thing I would say was in that final, it was a FIFA game. The final game was FIFA.
Which you love.
Here's why I love it so much. The first take of that, I won. But they didn't record it properly, so we had to do it again, and I lost. But the number of times I hit the woodwork in that match was ridiculous.
I would suggest, if you're ever into like a particular TV show and it has a live studio audience, and you're like, I want to go to that, maybe I'll go to that. Don't do it. Don't do it. It ruins the magic of television. I've had stuff like that ruined for me.
And especially don't do it and then let Coleman find out about it, because he will make your life a living hell for the rest of it. Yeah.
We did discuss that. I went to the.
Lovely.
I'm not sure we discussed this on or off podcast, but I did go to a Games World filming. I was in the audience rather than a participant, but I don't. Not the one that you were eating your dust in, but yeah.
Best dust, tasty dust.
And I was Big Boy Barry.
Eating my dust.
There we go.
Oh, bugger off.
Velvet Thunder, I really like this one. Dan, what's your favourite Destiny memory?
First, Vault Glass Clear.
Cool. Tim, what's your favourite VR memory?
I think Eve Valkyrie. I think that's that was at E3, and that was prior to, and that was the thing that made me a VR convert. I was like, oh, that is a different thing that I cannot do currently in normal video games, kind of thing.
Okay. And lastly, what is Coleman's favourite memory of Dan and him talking about Destiny and VR? Dan talking about Destiny, it was the one where we kept saying Mark over and over again, which I then turned into an animation. Tim's VR, I guess, take any of the episodes where Dan's audibly gone, while Tim's talking about VR, any of those, perfect. Lastly, Sam Ronan on Discord. Are you planning to watch the Devolver show this Saturday? Do you have any thoughts and hopes for that? You're saying it's a good show, basically. I'm going to go watch it this weekend because I think those shows are really funny.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it after the event, but I do intend on watching it at my leisure.
See, I think those events are funny, but not quite as funny as they think they are.
Mate, Pot Kettle Black for a start.
Well, look,
how many episodes of this are we into and still think we're funny? I mean, it's...
I enjoy those things. I'll watch them later. Speaking of the upcoming streams, Devolver Digital, that's this weekend. Ubisoft Forward, that's happening on July the 12th at 7 in the evening. And also we've got the Xbox Game Showcase that's finally been announced. That's coming on the 23rd at 5 o'clock in the
Which may
UK.
mean that week's podcast is a little bit late because it's kicking off literally when we start podcasting. So
we did it for PlayStation, so we've got to do it for Xbox. Yep. Otherwise, we're PlayStation sellouts.
Otherwise we get
you do it
with
for
dirty
PlayStation.
Xbox or something. Anyway, we really need to go.
Yep, that's it.
We really need to go. But, really love hearing from all of you chaps and chapettes on Discord. Like Coleman said, come along, say hello. But it would also be nice to see some podcast reviews as well, because that helps word get out about the wondrous thing that is BRB UK.
Right, when we say we want podcast reviews, not just anywhere... Don't just scroll it on a bathroom wall or something. That doesn't help.
Actually, I would like to see that. Don't deface other people's property, please. But the funniest location for a BRB UK review, I would just love to see that.
I will say, if you do it on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Podchaser, or Stitcher, I will see any of those reviews because of my cool algorithm thing that I set up ages ago.
And they're good places to do it for us. That's why.
And they help us. Yeah, apparently.
Help us. Help you. Help us.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not? Okay.
Let's get out of here.
Alrighty, so we're going to go now. Thank you ever so much for listening to us once again. We'll be back next week for episode 398, which is only 2 away from 400, which is a terrifying milestone. All that's really left is for me to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
I've been Coleman.
Yeah, you have.
Also, I'm going to sneak in a very quick Geek Out for Gosh. Go follow them. They're still raising money. You can still raise money. You can still follow other people.
Do that.
At Geek Out for Gosh on various different social platforms, including Twitter and other things.
Splendid. Go do that.
Do that.
Right. So, until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
Your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.
A short game, but a very good game. The whole kind of premise is you are asleep, and the game takes place within your dreams, and those dreams can end up within dreams. Hold on one second. Very good.